Now we will discuss about endocrine system. The endocrine system is a system which deals with the endocrine glands, and the secretions are called as hormones. Hormones are also called as chemical messengers. Hormones are also called as chemical messengers. That means these hormones will use as a chemical messengers, and they will be also called as ductless glands. Endocrine glands are also called as ductless glands because they don't have any glands to storage. So these are called as ductless glands. And coming to exocrine glands, these glands will have storage capacity. They have the storage and they are stored in the glands, hence they are called as exocrine glands. Remember, endocrine glands are ductless glands and exocrine glands are ducted glands. And these hormones, mainly the hormones, they act as a chemical messengers, and they are produced in one place and they will be carried to some other place for their action. Endocrine glands secrete hormones which are also called as chemical messengers. They are produced in one place and will be acting on some other place, and the place they act are called as target organs. Target means the place on which they act are nothing but the target organs, and they will be flowing into the bloodstream. They may not be storing, and whenever there is necessary they will be produced and will be going into the bloodstream without any storage. Hence these are called as immediate response. Whenever the necessary, these endocrine glands produce hormones and they will be releasing these hormones into the bloodstream, and these hormones will act on a target organ so that they will have immediate effect, to have the effect, and these are called as hormones. And for example, some of the endocrine glands in our body are pituitary body, pineal body, next we can have thyroid gland, parathyroid gland. I am writing in a sequential manner: pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, we have thymus gland, and we have adrenal gland, next we have pancreas, next we have ovaries and testes. These are the gonadotropins, and the sex hormones will be released from ovaries and testes. I am repeating: pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus gland, adrenal gland, pancreas, ovaries and testes. Now we will describe the functions of the endocrine glands or hormones. See, they integrate. These hormones will integrate and coordinate various activities in our body along with the central nervous system. Mainly, nervous system will be functioning along with the coordination of the endocrine system, because endocrine system will work when nervous system giving order. So these both will be acting simultaneously. When nervous system gives some orders through its nerves, the endocrine system will release the hormones, and this is a sequential process. Whenever there is necessity, the nervous system will release now the endocrine will be releasing the hormones. See, by this the first function is the hormones will integrate and coordination of the all the body activities, integration and coordination with the help of CNS, central nervous system. Next we coming to the second function. They help in the growth. They help in the growth and development of the body. We can see the growth and development in our body. And thirdly, we can see the proper digestion. Proper digestion and absorption will be taking place with the help of these hormones. We can see the HCl gas will be secreted in our digestive system, and even absorption will be taking place in the intestine with the help of and with the support of only with the help of hormones, because the neurology, the nervous system will be giving orders and the endocrine system will be releasing the hormones, and with the help of these hormones the digestion and absorption will be taken place very easily. And coming to the next function, they help in reproductive function. See, as I told before itself, they secrete hormones testosterone and progesterone, which are essential for our reproductive system. Ovaries are from ovaries they will secrete ova, and from testosterone they will secrete the testosterone secrete from the testes, ovaries. Along with this we have follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, as well as we have some prolactin, estrogen. All these are the reproductive hormones which are secreted in our human body. Apart from that, they can regulate the body fluid volume and its composition. The body fluid volume regulation is also one of the function of the endocrine system. Body fluid volume can be maintained with the help of this endocrine system. Next, we can see, we can classify the hormones on basis of their composition. Basis of their composition, we can classify these endocrine glands as steroids. First one is steroids, second is proteins, and third one is amino acids, amino acid derivatives. Just we can see this based on the composition of the hormones, they are classified as steroids, proteins, and amino acid derivatives. Steroids, in the steroids we can see corticosteroids, as well as we can have sex steroids and mineralocorticoids. All these are the examples of the steroids. Now we can see the examples of proteins. For proteins we can see pituitary hormone, next parathyroid hormone, and we can see insulin and glucagon. All these are the protein derivatives of these hormones. And amino acid derivatives are thyroid hormones. We can see thyroid hormone here. Next we can see catecholamines. We can see the example of catecholamines as, what is this? Epinephrine, norepinephrine, as well as dopamine. All will be acting as this chemical messengers. Amino acid derivatives are thyroid, catecholamines, as well as epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. All these are the classification based on the composition. Now coming to mechanism. Mainly the regulation. We can see how these secretions are regulated. The regulation of these hormones are regulated with the two mechanisms: negative feedback mechanism and positive feedback mechanism. We can see negative feedback mechanism. What does negative feedback mechanism represent? This represents that the hormones will be secreted as per the requirement. If the target organ receives more hormones and it will be in excess amount, then automatically the production of the hormone will be stopped, which is called as negative feedback mechanism. If the quantity is up to the mark and if the quantity exceeds the limit, then automatically the hormone production will be stopped, which is called as negative feedback mechanism. And what is positive feedback mechanism? If there is a requirement of any hormone at any to a particular organ, the hormones will be released, which is called as positive feedback mechanism. This will be seen usually and this will be seen rarely. It is less common and it is more common. More common is the negative feedback mechanism, and positive feedback mechanism is rarely we can see. Now we can see some of the details of the pituitary gland as well as the hypothalamus. What is hypothalamus? We can see hypothalamus. Hypo means almost we can see down, because it is below the thalamus. Epi means it is above and hypo means it is below. We can see the definition: above or below. Now hypothalamus is considered as the center that controls the endocrine as well as the nervous actions of our body. Hypothalamus is considered as the center that controls the endocrine as well as the nervous systems via pituitary gland. You remember this, via pituitary gland. See, these both are functioning via pituitary gland. Hence, the pituitary gland is also called as master gland because it controls the secretions of so many hormones. Hence, it is called as master gland. And we can see some of the hormones which are secreted by hypothalamus are growth hormone, releasing hormone, growth hormone inhibition hormone, corticotropic releasing hormone which is called as CRH, and we can see thyrotropic releasing hormone and LHRH which is called as luteinizing hormone releasing hormone, and we can see gonadotropin releasing hormone, gonadotropins which are the sexual hormones. Next we can see prolactin releasing hormone, we can see PIH, prolactin inhibiting hormone, and we can also see ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. See all these, I am repeating once again: growth hormone releasing hormone, growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Next, CRH refers to corticotropin releasing hormone, thyrotropin releasing hormone. Next, luteinizing hormone releasing hormone. Next, you can see gonadotropins releasing hormone. Next, prolactin releasing hormone and prolactin inhibiting hormone. Adenosine, no, it is anti-diuretic hormone. All these are the hormones which are controlled by our pituitary gland. Hence, we call it as master gland. Now we can see hypophysis cerebri. What is hypophysis cerebri? Hypophysis cerebri is the another name of the pituitary gland. We call hypophysis cerebri, which is the pituitary gland. See, we can see it is situated in the hypophyseal fossa. Hypophyseal fossa. The location of the hypophysis cerebri is called as hypophyseal fossa, which is also called as sella turcica, which is termed as a sella turcica, and which is present on the superior surface of the body of the sphenoid. We can remember the sphenoid bone in this context. Sphenoid bone. These hypophyseal cerebri, which is also called as pituitary gland, is situated in the hypophyseal fossa, which is also called as sella turcica, with the support of this sphenoid bone. This is one of the point. And it is suspended. What is made of suspension? It will be hanging. It is suspended from the floor of the third ventricle. Remember this, our brain has ventricles, and from the third ventricle it is suspended by a narrow stalk called infundibulum. You can remember this, infundibulum. Infundibulum is a narrow stalk-like structure from which the pituitary gland is hanging, and it is suspended from the third ventricle, and the suspension, the stalk-like structure is called as infundibulum. And we can see one more matter here. We have pia matter, dura matter or arachnoid matter in the brain, and we can see a dura matter fold which is named as diaphragma sella. We can see diaphragma sella, and it is a fold of the dura matter fold which is called as diaphragma sella. It is covered, the hypophyseal cerebra or pituitary gland is covered by a dura matter fold called diaphragma sella. And we can see optic chiasma. Optic chiasma is nothing but the overlapping of the optic fibers. We can see optic chiasma in the diagram. I will show you. Optic chiasma is nothing but the optic fibers joining at a point, and this will be forming one of the border of the pituitary gland. And we can see one more point here. The hypophysis cerebri is one of the most important endocrine glands, or it produces several hormones, some of which profoundly influence the activities, and because of that we call pituitary gland as master gland. Now we can see the organs associated with the pituitary gland. Organs associated with the pituitary gland. Kya kya hai organs? What are the organs? Above we can see dura mater, which is also called as diaphragma sella. Okay, the dura mater, this is the part which is present above the pituitary gland. And also circulus arteriosus, you can remember circulus arteriosus, circulus arteriosus, as well as the diaphragma sella, this is present in the above the pituitary gland. And we can see above and in front, we can see in the in front of optic chiasma, in front optic chiasma is present in front, and above we can see dura mater fold, which is called as diaphragma sella, and circulus arteriosus. And in the below we can see the sphenoidal air sinuses, sphenoidal air sinuses, we can see sphenoidal air sinuses below. And we can also see above is dura mater, in front is optic chiasma, and below we can see sphenoid air sinuses. And laterally we can see, and in lateral surface we can see the third and fourth and fifth of the cranial nerves. On the lateral surface we can see the third, fourth and fifth cranial nerves along with the cavernous sinus. We can see cavernous sinus. I think now we are clear about the borders. I am repeating once again. The above border is dura mater, which is called as diaphragma sella. Along with this we can see circulus arteriosus. And in front side we can see optic chiasma. And below we can see sphenoidal air sinuses. And the lateral side we can see third, fourth and fifth cranial nerves, and also cavernous sinus. Now we can see the applications of nursing. What are the applications of nursing? Now we heard about this pituitary gland as well as some hormones, how these are affecting in nursing. We can see tumors of pituitary gland. The tumors, what are the tumors? Tumor is nothing but the abnormal increase in the size of cells, maybe because of hypertrophy or also hyperplasia. Tumors are the cells which have the ability to increase in the number as well as size. And we can see if there are tumors in the pituitary gland, we can see in the CT scan as well as the X-ray. These applications of nursing are very important. The tumors, pituitary tumors, can be identified with the help of the CT scan as well as the X-ray. We can see the tumors of the pituitary gland. And we can also see optic chiasma causing bitemporal hemianopia. We can see in X-ray, apart from the tumors, we can see a tumor of pituitary may pass on the middle fibers of optic chiasma. Even it can pass through middle fibers of optic chiasma, which may be leading to bitemporal, bi means two, bitemporal hemianopia. Okay, this is the condition, hemianopia. And pituitary tumor can press on the cranial nerves. See, by knowing the borders we can know what are the effects of the pituitary gland. Above, I am repeating once again, the above border is diaphragma sella, which is present in dura mater along with the circulus arteriosus, and below, in front we can see optic chiasma, and below we can see sphenoid air sinuses, and laterally we can see third, fourth and fifth cranial nerves. Apart from that we can see the tumors of abnormal increase. In middle optic chiasma, because of the tumors of the pituitary gland, the optic chiasma may be affected, and the cranial nerves of the third, fourth and fifth cranial nerves may also be affected. And next, the tumor of the pituitary may also affect the sphenoidal air sinuses. As I discussed about the sphenoidal air sinuses, the below part of the sphenoidal air sinuses, and the tumor of pituitary can be removed with endoscope inserted through the nose and sphenoidal air sinuses. This is called as transsphenoidal approach of hypophysectomy. What is hypophysectomy? removal of the pituitary gland if it is harmful, hypophyseectomy removal, and this removal can be proceeded with the help of the opening in the nose as well as the sphenoidal air sinuses with the help of endoscopy. Okay, this is the hypophyseectomy application. Next comes, once the pituitary gland is removed, all hormones produced by it will have been supplemented. If pituitary gland is removed, we need to replace some artificially. Hormonal balance should be done, which is done artificially. Now coming to the subdivisions of the pituitary gland. What are the subdivisions of the pituitary gland? For every organ there will be a partitions or divisions, which we know very clearly. The divisions will be present in each and every organs. Now we can see the subdivisions of the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland widely is divided into three parts, mainly anterior, intermediate and posterior part. We can see the pituitary. I am just trying to draw the diagram of this pituitary gland. See, we can see this is the pituitary gland, and we can see this is the cleft region. This we called it as cleft, and we call it as pars tuberalis. You can see this pars tuberalis, and this part is optic chiasma, where we can see the nerves of the eyes, and this part is mammillary body. You can see this mammillary body here, mammillary body, and this is the median eminence, which is called as median eminence, and this is the infundibulum part, which is the suspended part, is called infundibulum. As we already discussed about the infundibulum, this is the suspended part, and we can also see some of the parts like pars posterior and pars intermedia. This is the pars posterior, and we can see pars intermedia, pars posterior and pars intermedia. I am repeating once again, this is the schematic representation of the pituitary gland. Here we can see infundibulum, this is the infundibulum, and this is the pars posterior, then this is the pars intermedia, this is the cleft, and we can see pars tuberalis, this is the median eminence, and these are the optic chiasma, the optic chiasma, and this is the mammillary body. Now we can see the function of all these pars anterior and pars intermedia and pars posterior, which is also called as pars posterior, is also called as pars nervosa. You can remember, posterior part is also called as nervosa. Now we can see the pars anterior, which is also called as pars distalis. Anterior part is also called as distalis. Pars anterior is also called as distalis, and we can see are both made up of cells having a direct secretory function, and hence they are called as adenohypophysis. There is a division called adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. See, adenohypophysis means anterior part as well as the intermediate part, they both combinedly form as adenohypophysis, and neurohypophysis is the only the posterior part of the pituitary gland is called as neurohypophysis. Understood? And we can see the extension of the pars anterior surrounds the central nervous core of the infundibulum because of its tubular shape. This extension is called pars tuberalis. Because of this shape is called as, shape is in the form of tube, it is called as pars tuberalis, and pars tuberalis is a part of adenohypophysis. Understood? Next, coming to the pars posterior. It contains numerous, pars posterior contains a numerous nerve fibers. Pars posterior part contains a numerous nerve fibers. Hence we call it as, also called as pars tuberalis. The pars posterior contains a number of nerve fibers. It is directly continuous with the central core of the infundibulum. This will be direct continuation with the infundibulum. Infundibulum is nothing but the stalk like structure which will be suspended. Now we can see which is made up of a nervous tissue. These two parts are togetherly referred to as neurohypophysis. Understood? The adenohypophysis part contains of anterior and intermediate, that is the pars anterior and pars intermedia both combinedly form as adenohypophysis, and the posterior part is called as neurohypophysis, and in this neurohypophysis we can see the pars posterior and also the infundibulum stalk. These two combinedly we call it as a neurohypophysis. Pars posterior plus infundibulum is called as neurohypophysis. The area in the floor of the third ventricle immediately adjoining the attachment to the infundibulum is called as median eminence. You can see in the diagram, this is called as median eminence. And development of pituitary gland, we can see the development of the pituitary gland. Adenohypophysis, which is also called as anterior lobe, develops from the Ratchet's pose. You can see this Rathkes, Ratchet's pose. Adenohypophysis, which is also called as anterior lobe, develops from the Ratchet's pose and extension from the roof of the primitive pharynx. This is the extension of the roof of the primitive pharynx. Hence, hence the development of the anterior part is developed from the Ratchet's pose, which is the part of the primitive pharynx. And we can see neurohypophysis, from where the neurohypophysis will be developed. It is developed from the neural tissue. It is developed from the neural tissue in the floor of the third ventricle. Okay, these two are the developmental points of the pituitary gland. Now we come to the relationship. What is the relationship of a pituitary gland with hypothalamus? How they are related? You can see the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland has numerous neural connections between hypothalamus, which is called as hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. Hypothalamus hypophyseal tract. Hypothalamus hypophyseal tract. Okay. While the anterior lobe of the pituitary has vascular connections with hypothalamus, which is called as portal hypophyseal vessels, which is called as portal hypophyseal vessels.